So, welcome. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Uh, we have Ra. What was it you preferred?
Yes.
Which one? Either,
Either or.
either or. Um, and so she's a fellow streamer, content creator over on Twitch, and she's joining me today because I thought she would be interesting enough to have on podcast, and I'm sure you will be. Uh, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. I'm Ra, whatever you want to call me. I'm 23 years old. I am a full-time mother to a 3-year-old little boy. I also stream pretty much all the time, and I'm also a full-time college student. And I also work on the side as well. So
So you,
busy.
yeah, you got your hands full for everything then. That
Definitely.
yeah, that's rough. That is a tough situation because full time student, full time mother, right then and there, like you could cut everything else out and your life is still gonna be full.
No,
So
yeah, definitely.
so finding time to do everything must be a huge challenge because I know I have that problem.
Yeah, no, definitely. Lack of sleep is
What are you going to school
probably my
for?
biggest problem. Biology. So I'm majoring in biology. Hopefully, a doctor one day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so got a lot of school left, but something
Yeah,
that I've always been interested in. So,
I took AP Bio in high school, and that was a mistake. I had to drop it. So I mean, I wanted to get into, I wanted to be a vet growing up, and
oh,
so in high school, I actually took a lot of sciences. I was fortunate enough that my high school had a really good program for different sciences. So we
hmm
had like marine biology, we had zoology, we had like all of this stuff in my high school. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take all of these. So I did, and then once I got to my senior year and I took AP Bio, I was like, no, I can't do this. Can't do
okay.
it. I can't.
No, yeah. In high school, I had taken anatomy and forensics, and for my forensics class, we were able to see an actual autopsy
Oh no way.
live and in person. Yeah, and ever since then, I've been hooked.
That didn't
I
wait. That didn't turn you off from it.
Nope. It made
Oh,
me decide like that. This is what I want to do. I want to be a medical examiner.
you're like, ooh, dead body. I want to cut into that.
Yeah, basically, everyone else was super squeamish, and but I don't know. It's just something that I never even considered going into high school or whenever they ask you what you want to be when you grow up.
Right.
Never in my life would I ever think that I would want to open up dead bodies, but that's something that I most definitely want to do.
Well, wait. Does that translate at all into like your video gaming experiences? So like, do you like horror games a lot?
I do a
Okay.
lot.
Okay.
Yes.
So like, okay, for horror games, are you more like gore, scary stuff, or are you more like psychological kind of horror?
Gore and scary stuff. The first actual video game I ever picked up and played and watched was Resident Evil, the very
Ah,
first one. My dad would play it with me, and I would watch him play it. And so ever since then, I've just been hooked on just really gory, kind of scariest games. Not really psychological. There hasn't really been a lot of psychological horror games that I've played. But yeah,
very
horror
nice.
just circles around me all the time. People
So,
think,
so you played the original Resident Evil.
yes,
Okay, and you said because of your dad.
yes, my
Man,
dad got me into it.
you just made me feel old. Well, because I mean, I played the original Resident Evil when I was younger. Because I mean, there's 10 years between you and I, so
Mhm.
I played the original Resident Evil, and I've been hooked ever since. If you can't tell, and
Yeah, no,
and
I see.
depending on when this goes live, because I told you before, like all of these are going to start going live probably at the end of February, early March. Depending on when this one goes live, I'm actually going to have the voice actor for Leon on a podcast. So
That is
so
awesome.
this might be like probably a little bit before or maybe after that podcast with him. And so as of today of us recording this, I actually spoke to him on the phone yesterday, which was really cool. Super cool dude. Like
Really? Oh my
yeah,
god.
super. And the thing is, like he's a gamer just like we are, so
hmm
he's passionate about everything, and that's you can tell by the way that he was excited to do a podcast with me that that's how he is, and it's really cool to actually be able to interact with like people that you look up to type of deal.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 was hands down till this day still my favorite out
Is
of the
it?
entire series. Yes.
See, for me, it's Resident Evil 3, so I'm really glad that the remake's coming out.
Oh no, I know. That's why I was like, I don't know. I think Resident Evil 4 was just one that I guess just sat with me better. I was a lot older
I was
when
gonna
I
say
played
it's
it,
it's probably an
so
age thing. For me, when Resident Evil 4 came out, I was a senior in high school,
Mhm.
so it was 2004. I think it was either 2004 or 2005 when it came out. Um,
Mhm.
but either way, like I was already older, and I had played all the other Resident Evils, and I loved Resident Evil 4. I did. These days, not so much, just because I so many HD remakes and ports, and I'm like kind of
Yeah.
tired of it at this point. But it's different voice actors though, so I'm kind of hoping to eventually get the voice actor who was for Resident Evil 4, Leon, on a
Mhm.
podcast. But we'll see what happens. Um, so Resident Evil. Okay, so I want to ask you then. Have you played all of them or just certain ones?
The only one I did not play was 6 because money wise, I at the time I didn't have a job like in high school and stuff, so I had to pick and choose what kind of game that I wanted
Mm.
for like good behavior, good grades, stuff like that. And 6 was one that was automatically a big no no in a lot of people's eyes. So I
Uh,
decided not to get it,
you
but I
should
did watch some
you should still
like
play it.
playthroughs of it.
You should still
Oh
play it.
yeah,
Just to play it, you should. Just
just
because.
to see for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, because people have different reactions to it. Like for me, the problem with it is that you have so many different stories in Resident Evil 6 compared to other games like Resident Evil 1 and 2. You had two characters that you played as. Resident Evil 3
Mhm.
was just Jill. Resident Evil 4 was just Leon. Then Resident Evil 5 was Chris and Sheva, and then Resident Evil 6 you had eight characters.
All these characters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that it just kind of blew up because it's too many different storylines to follow, and they could have trimmed some fat here and there to improve some of the other sections, but they didn't.
Sections. Yeah.
They didn't do that. But you should still play it because there's some things that like I personally like. Like I like Leon and Ada's story in the game.
Oh,
So
love Ada.
yeah, so to me that's kind of like a little bit of a redeeming factor. But you should still play it. I mean, it's cheap enough now. It's like $20 if you have like $20 to spare. You
Oh
should
yeah, definitely. I
definitely try
because
to grab it.
I really enjoyed Revelations too.
Oh yeah.
Um, didn't think I would, but I really enjoyed that one too. Except my only biggest thing was I played it on the Wii, so that was it
Mm.
was kind of difficult a little bit, but it
Yeah,
was
so
fun. I
like
really
I
enjoyed
was
it.
actually playing it on stream. Uh Yesterday I finished it on stream, which is I've beaten that game a lot. But yeah, Revelations was a good one. Um
No, yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
have you played any of the other horror series? Like different series
I've played trying to think. Oh, I already forgot.
like Outlast or anything like that?
Outlast I have. I've only played the first one though. Never got around to the second one.
How
Um,
did you like the way that it plays compared to like other survival horrors? Because Outlast is more like, oh, you have no defense, you run and hide, and
Hide. No, I think it was very, very well done for
okay,
something that wasn't during that time when it came out. There wasn't a lot of games that were like that, where you kind of were just defenseless and had to use your surroundings
yeah,
to survive, basically. And it was very intense,
yeah,
very intense.
I agree with you on that. Like for me, Outlast was like, it wasn't that it was terrifyingly scary, more so that it was just stressful. Like
Yeah.
having to just hide, and you're just like, oh my god, like everything's just stressing you out. That's how I felt when playing that game. But I
No,
mean,
yeah, just constant, just not knowing what's gonna.
right. I mean, and you're right. You're right for what it was at the time, something new. Because I mean, ever since then, you have like all these games that are kind of just copying Outlast,
Copying it. Hmm.
and it just takes away from what it was. And
Hmm.
and I'm like that's why I like going back to Resident Evil, and why I'm glad that they're like redoing the
Doing them.
originals, and it makes me appreciate the survival horror genre that much more. Because
Hmm.
again, when people start copying others, and they say that imitation is the best form of flattery, but it's still like it's too much when you start pumping out the same kind of concept
Kind
over
of.
over and
Hmm.
over. So I found your live streams because of Dark Souls.
Really?
I don't know why. I don't think I was looking for Dark Souls specifically, but I was looking for smaller communities on Twitch because I like giving attention to the smaller live streamers and content creators because I'm one myself, and it's so easy to just hop into whoever's popular, their live streams, whatever, but they don't interact because there's just too many people in there.
Too many. Mm.
And so, in a smaller content creator such as yourself, it's easier to interact and to get to know you, and you're very friendly and personable with people in your stream. And so, I found you because of smaller recommendations that Twitch did, and you happen to play Dark Souls, and I like Dark Souls. Um, what got you into Dark Souls? Because that's so. Since we talked about horror, what got you into Dark Souls then?
Completely just out of my comfort zone game.
Oh, is that what it
I
is?
always I think like the games that I always played were just like Resident Evil all the time. Kingdom Hearts was another big game that I would always play. Um, and I don't know, it was something out of my comfort zone. So I actually started with Sekiro, played
Okay.
that, loved it. It was very difficult because I've never played a game like that ever before. And once I finished that, I jumped into Bloodborne, and I thought I was going to be done after that, but everyone recommended me to do Dark Souls, and I did not think I was going to like it at all. But I recently just finished all of them, and I enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that I went ahead and played it because it definitely. I met a lot of other streamers
Hmm.
and content creators, and just a lot of great people, and I'm so glad that I did it. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, but now I feel like I don't know, I feel like a pro
Well,
nowadays.
I mean, it's definitely something of an accomplishment to say that you finished all the Dark Souls games.
Oh, definitely.
And on top of Sekiro as well. I never played Sekiro. I actually passed on that one just because there were so many games that came out all together.
Mhm.
I didn't have time personally to play Sekiro. Um, Now, in comparison between Sekiro and the Dark Souls games, which ones do you prefer?
Man, I was just talking about this too. I'm so torn, but I still think I would have to go with Sekiro for sure.
Is that because it was a better game, or just because that was your first one of that type of genre?
I think because it was just my first one, it got me into it.
Right.
I loved just like the way it looked. I loved like the bosses, the mechanics, and stuff like that. It's a very difficult and stressful game where when you finally beat the boss that you've been on for like 2 days, it feels so great. Um, in Dark Souls, I didn't really feel that, but I think it's because I played Sekiro and like Bloodborne first that Dark Souls just
It was
came really
easier.
easy. It was
Okay.
so it was so easy.
But everybody says
Um,
that like Dark Souls is like the game that is like, oh, Dark Souls is so difficult. To play Dark Souls 3, you're gonna rage. But you didn't
mhm.
feel that way.
No, I actually completed it fairly fast, like in 2 weeks.
Interesting.
So no,
Have you ever played Code Vein?
I have not. A lot of people have been recommending me to play it though.
Because since you enjoyed playing Sekiro and Dark Souls, I mean, I would say Code Vein's easier, but it's still
Hmm.
very enjoyable. I mean, it's got a good story, and it's more animated than Dark Souls and Sekiro because those are
Dark
more
Souls.
they look more like live action,
Hmm.
versus an anime style version of Dark Souls, I
Version of
guess.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance to play Code Vein, you should definitely take that opportunity to play it. I mean, right now it is a little bit more on the expensive side because it just recently released,
Hmm.
but still a good play, and they're pushing out DLC for it now, so that's always
No, yeah,
one.
I'm definitely trying to look for games kind of similar to Dark Souls and stuff because I have no idea now what to do now that I'm finished with all of them. I feel so lost.
I mean, there's so many games out there that you could just pick up and play. Not necessarily
Hmm.
new games. You could always go back to games that maybe you've wanted to play but you never got around to doing so. Um,
Hmm.
you
No,
know,
most definitely.
I'm not sure what other genres you like to play. Because I mean, you did mention Kingdom Hearts, but I'm not sure if you're an RPG fan or not.
I love RPGs. Yeah,
Because I
it's
mean,
just there's so many games that I've wanted to play that I never got around to. I just don't know if I'd still be interested in them because ever since I became a mom, I had to put video games on halt for a long time. And it wasn't until last year
Mm-hmm.
in January, so a year from now, basically, that I started playing games again and getting back into it because I just missed it. And my son was a little bit more older at the time, so he was more independent.
Right.
Um, so now it's just a lot easier for me to be able to play games and stream and stuff like that. So I definitely had to put games on hold for about like 2 years,
Do you
maybe even
find
3.
do you find yourself playing more games now as a streamer than you did before?
Yes, most definitely. Yes.
So I actually I did a podcast with another streamer before, and he mentioned that he actually started streaming because he wanted to play more games, that he didn't have
Hmm.
time. So because he felt like if he allocated time to live stream, then that would give him a reason to play video games.
I agree 110%.
Is that kind of how it led you to live streaming, to because you wanted to play more games and you're like, let me try this live streaming gig and see how that goes.
Yeah, that basically was what it was. I, again, had no time to ever play games. And when I finally got the chance to play video games, I thought, I mean, I might as well live stream it, you know?
Right.
I'm already playing it, I might as well. And now, consistently live streaming, it gives me a reason to constantly be playing games that I've always wanted to play, that people recommend me to play. So I
Right.
feel like I play so much more games now than I did before.
So, what's your console of choice? What do you play your games on?
PlayStation 4 for
Okay.
sure.
Do you have a PC that can handle PC games if the need arises?
Yes, I do. Hmm.
Did you build your own PC or you did a pre-build?
I pre-built.
Okay. What kind of do you know the specs specifically on your PC or anything like that? I'm just curious to
Not
see like what hardware you're running for your stuff.
Not specifically, not that I have written down, but it was a NZXT build, like
Mm-hmm.
the streamer build.
Yeah, yeah, I'm familiar with
Um,
them.
so I just I saved up when I first started streaming. I was just streaming off of a laptop and my PlayStation.
Like many of
I
us.
just bought Yeah, I just bought like an audio splitter, like an Elgato, just little things that I needed to just get it
Right.
running and started. And then I eventually saved up from live streaming
Mm-hmm.
to get a PC. So now I have I actually play Dark Souls on PC, but everything before that, when I first started streaming, it was strictly just on PlayStation.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. Started on a laptop that could barely handle live streaming, but I made it work.
Definitely. My stream would cut out all the time.
Yeah.
Just, it
Yeah.
was terrible, but
Yeah.
we
But
made it through.
had to do what you had to do. Sometimes I would stream directly off my PlayStation, just
Hmm.
just because I didn't want to have to deal with the hassle. And then just like you, saving up from doing live streams and videos and stuff like that, people donating so that way I could build a computer, and people are really generous as far as being able to help out their favorite content creators is what I've noticed. You
Dude,
know,
yes, yes.
like I would not have been able to build my PC if it wasn't for the people that were subscribed to me and watching and donating, and I'm sure that's the same way for you as well.
Yes, most definitely. I tell them all the time, none of this would have been possible without them. So, very grateful for the community and family that I've built
Yeah.
over these months because now I can continue to do this and do what I love, play video games and produce great content for them. And
Right. Now, do
yeah.
you, because you mentioned that you work on top of going to school, on top of having your own 3-year-old,
Yes.
do you find that live streaming, I mean, you don't have to say how much you make or anything. I'm not asking for that because, that's kind of like a taboo subject, right?
Hmm.
So, do you find it a little bit easier income wise with streaming and working, so like you don't have to work so much that you have more time to be at home?
Yes and no. I think my two biggest expenses right now, because I'm a server at a sports bar,
Okay.
and now that football is currently over and done with, we're definitely going to hit a slow point. So money isn't always
Right.
consistent.
Right.
Um, but what is consistent is like my school
Mm-hmm.
tuition and my son's daycare, which is close to $300 a week.
How?
So, um, yeah, it's kind of like a school for pre-K and
Right.
stuff like that. So, because I was paying a lot of money for other daycares and
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't learning anything, and so I feel like paying that extra $200 is worth it in my eyes. But it was very, very difficult having to
Oh,
just work,
yeah.
being a server and doing that. So when I started streaming, if I ever am short money for whatever for 1 week or whatever, I can just pull from this and use that. I try not to. I try to make sure I have everything from my stream first,
Right.
um, and then everything else will just go into like savings just in case. Again, if I don't make the greatest money one weekend, then I can pull from that to pay for my son's daycare for that week.
Yeah. No, I get that 100%. As a parent myself, like I said, I have two kids. I'm at a situation right now that I'm fortunate enough. Like, my wife, she makes enough where she works, and I make enough. Because I have my own schedule for work. So I'm a massage therapist, so I have my own schedule for whenever I want.
Mhm.
So I'm at the situation where I'm fortunate enough I can do this in the middle of the day. I can do this whenever I want, but it wasn't always like that. So
Mhm.
I understand that 100% of everything. You know, we've tried to avoid daycare just because of the extra expense.
Yeah.
So we've always, between my wife and I, we've always tried to organize our schedules so like somebody's always home with the kids and then somebody goes to work after, because we just didn't
Got it.
we just didn't want that. And I know everybody's situation is different. I know your situation is not the same as ours because you're also going to school and you have a lot of stuff on your plate, so I get that. um it's the challenges of being a parent and a streamer. That's
Oh, it really is. It's so difficult. Again, lack of sleep, but get it done. So,
Yeah. And how you said full-time student, how many hours is a full-time student for you?
12 credit hours.
That is
So,
yeah,
about
that's
3 to 4 classes, depending on labs, which I am taking labs. So
mhm.
it fills up that most definitely, but it's a lot.
Now, is that a day or just a few days out of the week?
Just Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I have an online class because just to kind of combat me going to work on the weekends and then
Mm-hmm.
me doing this during the week. It was just a lot easier for me to take at least one of my classes online because I
Right.
can just do it after I take my son to school and then come home, get that stuff out of the way, do errands and stuff, and then prepare for the stream later that night.
Yeah. And it'll all be worth it once it's done.
I know that's why I'm like it's a struggle right now, but I know if I can just consistently keep up with it, and it'll just be so much easier in
Now,
like the next.
now, do you find yourself like, say you're studying in the middle of the night? Do you find yourself putting on somebody's streams in the background and like discovering new streamers while you're studying type of deal? Or are you the type of person that like if you're studying you can't have anything in the background?
No, if I'm studying for like an exam, then I have to have it completely quiet. I'll go to campus and go and study and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's just homework and stuff like that, I try to be in as many people's streams as I possibly can, especially people that are in my community that stream. I like to show support back
Mm-hmm.
because I understand how hard it is to get started being like such a small content creator.
Right.
So I always try to go in there. I let people promote in my Discord. And then I even go to see other streamers that I've never seen before, maybe playing the same game that I was. So I kind of know more or less who I'd want to raid or host one day
Mm-hmm.
and just try to just meet new people and just show support as much as I can with as little time as I have very little downtime. So definitely when I'm doing homework and stuff like that, I just like to keep people's streams up,
Right. Yeah, and
meet
that
new people.
I do that, or I've done that when I was in school for massage therapy. I've actually met a few streamers because of that, and yeah, it's a fun thing to like you said, interact with the different communities and improve upon your own at the same time. And so as you stream very late,
Yes.
very late. Like
Yes.
I'll be streaming because I stream mostly on YouTube, but
Mhm.
I do stream on Twitch as well. But like I'll be streaming, and when I end my stream, I get a notification. You just started yours. I was like, holy crap, she's streaming late. And
Yeah.
and I don't
It's
I don't go to bed early. Like I'll go to bed at like 3 4 o'clock in the morning for me, and we're an hour apart. And so it'll be 3 o'clock in the morning for me, and you're streaming, and I'm like, oh my god, this girl is like, she's playing Dark Souls at 3 a.m. for me, which is 2 a.m. for you, but still that's late.
it is.
And
And then I
then
have to get up at 7 in the morning
yep, yep,
every day. So
yep, and that's
it's difficult.
and that again I understand because I get up at 7 a.m. for my kids, gotta get them ready for school and all of that stuff. So yeah, it's tough, man. It is tough.
No, yeah. I think it's more so I try to start the earliest 10, but my son with potty training and sometimes he just does not want to go to sleep. So I try to say I'll start between this time and this time and let people know just because my son is just he's a handful and
Mm-hmm.
his sleep schedule isn't consistent. Because since I work over the weekends, he'll be with his grandparents and they won't always keep him on his schedule. So
Right,
it's very difficult for me during the week when I'm trying to get him ready for bed and then get ready for the stream at the same time.
right.
So I try to start as early as I possibly can. But if I am having to start late, I try to go an extra hour, but I'm so exhausted the next day.
Yeah, and I don't mean to pry too much, but you're a single mom. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean that's what it sounded like. You're a single mom.
Hmm.
Um, what what kind of challenges do you face as a single mom who's doing all of this stuff? It's content creation, doing going to school, working, all of this stuff. What kind of challenges do you face on an everyday basis doing what you do?
Uh, Lack of sleeping, one of them, constant stress and worrying of if I feel as if if I'm sitting around for like 5 minutes, I'm in my head thinking I should be doing something. There's something that I need to be doing. If my son is sick, I have to be the one to call out of work or cancel streams or whatever because I don't
Mm-hmm.
have anyone else to watch him.
Right.
So it's very difficult when life makes a turn or someone gets sick or I get sick. It's kind of like I don't have time to get sick myself. I don't have time to
Yeah.
rest. It's it's very difficult doing it by myself, but I've done it by myself for the past 3 years now. So um, it gets easier in a sense. I say that even though my body and my mind are just drained, but it has gotten easier over the years. Um, I'm trying to. I feel like streaming especially has helped me balance myself and my schedule and make sure I'm not procrastinating and getting everything done as fast as I possibly can. And keeping up with schoolwork and stuff because this is something that I love to do. So being able to make sure that I can stay with my consistent schedule, I have to make sure that I'm getting everything else done around the house and with myself and with my son. Very difficult, it's very tiring, but I think I've been doing a pretty good job. So,
You sound
um,
like you're doing a good job. I mean, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Your son's okay. Your son's healthy. You know, like you have pictures in your Discord of your son, which I
yes.
don't recommend doing. To be 100% honest with you, I don't like me personally. I don't allow my kids to be on camera, nothing like that.
Mhm.
Just because there's a lot of people out there, and
Definitely.
and so but seems healthy, seems happy. To me, as a parent, that's what's important, is that the kids are happy, healthy, they're having the best childhood they can possibly have, that you as a parent can possibly give them. Um, so again, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Because I've seen some things that you post on Twitter too, that sometimes people have made you feel like you're not a good parent or whatever. But um,
Yeah.
it's not easy, and I feel like those people who say stuff like that are probably not parents themselves, so maybe they don't know, or that they're not good parents. I mean, it's parenting's not an easy thing, and it is a full time job. It
It
really
is.
is. You give everything to your children. The minute that your child is born, a good parent will give everything that they have to them, and it doesn't matter what struggles that they may have. They will make sure to try and not have their children struggle, and that's
Mhm.
what I've experienced as a parent. I mean, it's a whole, like, you become this whole other person that you didn't know you could become.
Okay. Yep.
Because before kids, you're living your life, you're having a blast, and then after kids, you're this some other responsible creature that you didn't even know that you were.
Yep.
And that's just, it's the beauty of parenting. It really is.
It
I
is.
feel like, and this, I might get a little bit of backlash for this, but part of being an adult, or sometimes the way that people snap into adulthood, is becoming a parent, and it just happens. I don't know if you agree with that at all, but you know,
I agree, but I also can see other people that you would think that being a parent would make someone change, but then they don't,
yeah,
which is very unfortunate
I've seen
for
that too.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then the kids are the ones who suffer from that.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm like, I definitely agree. Me being a parent has made me grow up very, very fast. I was
Right.
20 when I had my son, so I was very young, very, very young. And it definitely changed my perspective on a lot of things. I felt like I grew up a lot faster, but mainly because I just think that that's, what you're supposed to do as a parent. It just kind
Right.
of comes with it.
And a lot of it also has to do with how you were raised too. Like, do you find like the way that your parents raised you made you a little bit more prepared for your own child?
I can see definitely uh, little things that I never understood when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That I never understood why they acted a certain way or why they were so worried. And I can definitely get that now being a parent. Like, I understand that
Right.
I'm going to be worried for the rest of my life, even
Yeah.
when my son does move out and stuff like that. So I totally get that. But my family being Hispanic, very, very old school, I most definitely do not agree with the way that they raised me as far as like hitting me with the
The chancla.
chancla
Yeah.
or anything like that. Yeah, it's very kind of, I just don't agree with that. But I definitely, what I like about parenting is that there's no book for it. You can, you parent your kids the way you see fit, and just as long as, again, they're happy and healthy, it's totally fine. But I definitely get a lot of things that I always told myself that I would never be like my mother when I was become a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and now I see myself being like my mom with certain things, and it's just so funny. But I definitely do have to give it to them
Yeah.
for me to be as strong as I am now, because I never thought that I would be a single mother either, but I am, and my mom was too, so I think that's what helped me a lot.
Yeah. And I'm Hispanic too, so I get that.
No, yeah, they're very old school, so it's kind of
My mom's Cuban, but she raised me way different than she was raised by her dad, like her mom and her dad. So, because her dad specifically, so my grandfather is very old school. My
Mhm.
mom wasn't that old school, so she never like threatened to hit me with a chancla. But my cousins, though, they got it all the time, all the time. So like I would go over, spend time at their house, and like my aunt would be yelling at them. and threatening to hit him with the chancla or the wooden spoon that
Yeah, anything that they could possibly get their
yeah,
hands on and throw at their kid.
like
Yep, that's
you hear the snapping of the belt and you're like, oh boy.
yep. With
So
my parents, it was if one of us got in trouble, all of us would get in trouble. It was
mm,
just kind of a hand in hand thing that everyone was going to get spanked,
yep,
even if you
yep.
didn't do anything.
So that way you learn because they messed up.
Yep, that's the
Yep,
household that I grew up in.
yep. Oh, I know. Anybody who's Hispanic can relate to that. That's just I mean, we laugh about it, right? But
Yeah,
it's not really a good thing.
I know.
But at the same time, most people that I know turned out okay. They learn and they don't do those things that their parents did. But they themselves turned out just fine for the most part. So
Yeah,
it's not something to be said about proper discipline, but not like beating your children.
beating your children. Yeah.
So every now and then, I'm sorry, those of you guys who watch this and you're like, oh, no spanking. You know what? If the kid is like really out of line, a smack on the butt a little bit, not like beating. Okay, I'm just like a little smack on the butt is, I think is kind of okay. Like
I agree.
there was a video a while ago somebody put out, I think it was on Twitter or something, that obviously it was a staged video, but or maybe it was like a scene from a show or something, that this kid called the cops on his parents or on his mom because his mom spanked him. And so the cops showed up and the cops asked the kid, like they talked to the mom and then they talked to the kid and they're like, does your mom do this all the time? And he's like, no. And the mom's like, he was misbehaving, he was this and that, and so I spanked him. And so the cop looks at the kid and the cop's like, are you bleeding? Are you in pain? No. And then the cop looks at the mom, was like, you did a good job, we're leaving. And I mean, that's the real thing. Like, there's nothing. I'm not saying beat your kids. Don't do that. Don't do that, because then you're gonna be in trouble. But
Mhm.
discipline your kids properly. Don't. I have a friend that she doesn't believe in disciplining children or her children. And I'm not saying her name or anything like that, but I don't agree with her parenting 100% because she's too easygoing. Like
Mhm.
she's not stern enough with her children, or her kid, and her kid is like a little wild.
Mhm.
And I feel like she should be a little bit more strict with him, but she's not. She's way too mellow for what he needs, and so her son just walks all over her, and
Oh no. Yeah,
it's
no.
I see that and I'm like, oh my god, if that was my son, he would be in timeout really fast. you
Yeah.
know, take everything away. He's in timeout. I'm not playing with that. No,
No,
but
yeah, I see that in a lot of parents that are my age that have kids now too. Some of them are very lenient when it comes to their children. Of course, it's not my say, but in
yeah,
my eyes, you're a parent first before I'm your friend.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I see a lot of parents that they just want to be their kid's best friend, and I get that. Like especially in this day and age, where a lot of kids are diagnosed with depression and they get bullied and all
yeah,
this crazy stuff that happens. But I'm a parent first before I'm my kid's friend. So if you're out of line, I'm going to make sure that you know that you're out
yeah.
of line.
And that's the thing. Like, I have experience with that because my dad, since my parents were divorced since I was 3, I never lived with my dad, and so my dad was always trying to like be my best friend, and so
Hmm.
I never got any discipline from my dad or anything like that. I got plenty of it from my mom, but but never really from my dad. And in hindsight, I feel like not that I was a bad kid or anything like that, because I wasn't. I was way too easy of a kid. Like my mom, once I got older, my mom came up to me and she's like, you and your brother are so different because for you, I never had to worry about anything. When you started driving, I didn't have to. I had no curfew growing up. I had no curfew growing
Hmm.
up, and my mom was like, the reason why you had no curfew is because I trusted you enough to do whatever the hell you wanted to do. I didn't have to worry that you were gonna come home and not go to school, or that you were gonna be doing drugs or anything like that. Your brother, though, he's got a curfew. He's different. I need to like watch him and like make sure he's not doing anything he's not supposed to, because he's very different than you are. And I'm like, I guess you could say I was the good son.
So, the favorite.
But so my dad, he never disciplined. I mean, he gave, like, we would have conversations, like really deep conversations, and like I would find out things from my dad that I never knew, like when growing up. Like I never knew my dad was thinking about killing himself shortly after the divorce from my mom and things like that. And so we had deep conversations and stuff like that. But I get the whole that trying to be your best friend type of thing. For me, it doesn't work. I don't feel like it works, because again, like you said, you got to be a parent first. They're gonna have plenty of friends growing up, but you got to be a parent first.
Definitely.
No one's gonna look out for your children besides you.
Yep.
You mentioned bullying, and we had a little bit of a conversation before regarding names.
Yes.
Like our names growing up and stuff like that. You got a lot of bullying because of your name. Was that more like in elementary, middle school?
Oh no, all through high
All
school.
through high school.
Except
Okay.
when I was in high school, it came from substitutes and teachers.
That they were bullying you?
Yeah, or they would think that I was messing around and they didn't believe me.
Oh, wow.
They thought that I was joking around, and there's been plenty of times where I almost got written up because they're like, "Okay, quit playing. Like, what's your name?"
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, I, that is my name. I don't know what to tell you.
Do you want to say your name? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Yeah, that's fine. So my real name is Ryan. I in elementary school, it was a lot of course, teasing, saying like, "Oh, that's a boy's name. Like, are you a boy?" kind of thing. And
Right.
then in middle school, it was got a little bit more worse, because I think in middle school, kids can be a little bit more brutal.
Yeah.
But and then of course, I had like coaches and teachers try to give me different names like Rai Rai, and to try to combat it, or they tried to be funny with it. Like
Right.
I had a coach call me Rain, and it's just like, I guess he was trying to be funny with it, but it just made the bullying a lot worse.
Oh.
And then going into high school, that's when I joined my softball team in high school, played all through middle school, all through high school, and they gave me a handle that I pretty much sticked with for the longest time. It used to be Rara Smalls from The Sandlot.
Right.
I was the smallest one on the team. I definitely had to learn a lot of things going into softball. And they gave me the nickname Rama just to kind of combat the fact of being bullied. And it just stuck for the longest time, even when I first started PC gaming and before I had my son. And then it wasn't until I started streaming that I wanted to have something similar to it, because even though I have no problem with my name now, I think it's so funny when people, especially at work, they think that I'm wearing someone else's name tag.
Okay.
And I'll just tell them, nope, this is my name tag. And now people tell me like, that's so unique. And now whenever I have people come in, they always remember me.
Right.
They're like, I'll never forget the girl named Ryan. Like, who can forget that?
Well,
so.
and then, the age that we are in these days is very different than when you were in elementary, middle school, and high school. So
Definitely.
a girl named Ryan is not a big deal when you have, celebrities naming their children North.
Yeah. So it's a lot more understandable, and people don't question it as much anymore.
But it is an interesting name. You will never forget a girl named Ryan.
Yep.
So it's nice to hear that, like, you owned your name. You took the power back, and that's, that you're okay with it now.
Yep, because for the longest time, I always hated the fact that my parents named me Ryan. I was like, why did you do this to me? I'm getting bullied and stuff. And now that I'm older, it's just, I like hearing that I'm unforgettable just based off of my name, and the fact that I can use that to just make myself feel better.
Right.
Completely just takes away any bullying that ever happened to me ever. I mean, it still sucked, and I mean, I got over it though. I'm fine now, and yeah, so I basically just took back my name. Didn't let people use that against me at all.
And that's what you got to do, and that took me the longest time to understand. So I get
Hmm.
it. Even now, I'm still like, when I introduce myself, I don't really introduce myself with my full name.
Hmm.
Christian. It's just not. I got, just like you. I got bullied a lot because my name is spelled with a K, so it's a lot of Christina, a lot of Kristen,
Christine.
Kirsten, and then to make matters worse, I grew up in a Jewish household because my mom remarried and converted.
Oh,
So my mom then sent me to Hebrew school, and so being named Christian in a Hebrew school just made it worse.
I can imagine that.
So
Oh my goodness.
so yeah, it's I for me it's been harder to accept my name than for you. Like even now, it's again I'm Chris. That's it, or Goshen. Online. I just nobody calls me by my first name. Not even my parents.
It's just Chris.
Yeah, it's just Chris. I can't. I don't know. Somebody calls me Christian. It sounds weird. You
It's
know.
almost kind of like, wait, who?
Yeah, no, for real though. It's almost to the point I don't respond to it. My grandmother will call me Christian, and
Mhm.
I don't really respond to it. She has to call me Chris, and then I'll turn around. It's just a subconscious thing in the back of my head because I've had to kind of block it from constant teasing and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So you're the way that your mind works. You just block things out, and then unless you, like yourself, unless you just break down your barriers that you built up, it never goes away. But it's good to hear that you took the power back.
Yes,
You owned it again, and that's a very important thing for any sort of bullying and stuff like that. Just own it, whatever it is that you're being made fun of. If you own that, they can't make fun of you. They can't take it from you. You know.
exactly. Especially now that I run into bullies back then
Mm-hmm.
and they see where I'm at now, especially with streaming, they don't really say much now. Some of them have apologized for the way that they've treated me back then,
Do
and
they?
they don't try to reach out to be my friend, but they let me know that they're supportive. And not all of them. Of course, you'll still have the very jealous type people, but
Right.
I really do appreciate that some people actually reached out to me to congratulate me on any success, and it feels good because I definitely don't. Even though they treated me so poorly back then,
Mm-hmm.
and I hate it myself so much. I just am not the type of person to hold grudges, especially of stuff that happened in elementary, middle school, and high school. It's like we're adults now.
Yeah.
None of that's gonna matter at
Right.
all.
Yep. It's all the petty stuff. It just goes away over time, and a lot of those people you never see again.
Exactly. You're never gonna see them again. So for
After.
anyone watching that's going through bullying,
Yeah.
it's you're never gonna see these people again. Don't even sweat it.
Yeah. I mean, all those people that made fun of me, I never interacted with them since middle school. Most of my teasing stopped after middle school, but I never interacted with them ever again afterwards. And hell, even my friends from high school, I haven't spoken to in years.
Hmm.
That's just how it goes. So people move on, they go on with their life, and you just can't get stuck in that, in that bullying stuff, and just let it constantly affect you. Especially these days where it's so easy to bully
Easy.
somebody. You know, you get bullied online. You go. I'm sure you've had it on a live stream or something. Somebody comes into your live stream to start causing problems.
Oh yeah.
You get trolls on, and the best way is just ignore them. Have your mods do their thing if they're gonna ban them or whatever, and that's it. Like I tease them back. So if I get a troll in my live stream trying to cause problems or whatever, I'll tease them back, and I'll be like, oh well, okay, well you don't like what I'm doing. Okay, that's fine, but thanks for wasting your time and giving me the view and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Anyways, you're not hurting anybody but yourself there because you took the time
Exactly.
to come and try to hurt me, and
Yeah.
then my mods go and take care of it from there.
Yep. There's been times where I kind of just I read what they say and I'm like, hey, are you having a bad day? Like, what's up? Like, do you need to talk to someone? Like, did your girlfriend break up with you? Like, what's going on? What's the deal? Why are you acting so toxic right now?
Yeah.
And if they continue or whatever, then my mods take care of it. But I try to like I try to give people chances even in my live stream, but if it's
Hmm.
just completely just toxic out of line or if it's racist anyway, it's instant ban. But
Yeah.
I that's why I pick my mods very wisely because I
Yeah.
want them to be able to represent me as well
Oh,
and
for sure.
the brand that I'm creating. So I'm very, very picky with who I choose as my
No,
mods.
for sure. And you have to be. I get
Mhm.
people all the time. Oh, how do I be a mod? And I'm like, well, first off, I've never seen you before.
Mhm.
So don't come into the live stream asking how to be a mod if I've never seen you before. And second, I'd have to get to know who they are. They have to be interactive with me on Twitter, on Discord, and all the different places I have my community that I'm building. So yeah, for those people watching who want to be mods in people's live streams, get to know the streamer first, and it takes time. We got to trust you
Yep.
because we're giving you power for our live streams. We got to trust who you are, and will your values uh, respond well with ours. Like
Ours.
that's how it's got to be. It can't. We got to be picky. Sorry, guys.
Yep. Yep.
So have you felt that streaming has impacted your life like in a more positive way?
Yes. Someone that has gone through their share of troubles like everyone else. Definitely started to lose myself. I think once I had my son, I gained a lot of like confidence in myself again.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a reason to live, but of course, postpartum depression from having kids is very much a real thing
Oh yeah.
within women. And it lasted for a while where I had that drive, and then I started to slowly lose it, and I started to lose myself, and it made me feel terrible as a mother because I always feel like I have to be like superwoman, and I never want my son to ever see me down ever. I want him to look back and say, "Wow, my mom was going through so much stuff, but she always stayed so strong and positive."
Mm-hmm.
And with streaming, it gives me that drive that I was missing too. It again, it helps me stay on a schedule. It helps me not procrastinate, even if I'm having such a terrible day and I'm so stressed and everything like that. And I just, need someone to talk to. I can always just hop on to live stream and I'll have my community waiting for me and kind of giving me like an outlet to just not necessarily vent, but just to wind down
Right.
and just know that I also want people to know that if they're going through something similar, that they're not alone. So it definitely has helped me give me that extra oomph that I need in my days.
So you use streaming as a way to kind of wind down and just relax.
Yes.
Now, do you ever have to? Because I mean, I've spoken to a lot of different streamers about this next question I'm going to ask you, and some people. So how can I put this? Do you find yourself, if you're streaming, ever having to kind of force yourself or fake it, like being happy on stream, like
No,
not
never.
not specifically happy. What's the word I'm looking for? Not downers. Because like okay, so the way I see it is you don't really want to stream if you're feeling really down, right? So if that's going to
Yeah.
reflect on your live stream and stuff like that. Um, but if you really want to push yourself to have to stream, do you ever do that, or would you rather just not stream that day?
There's been times where my days and my mood has been really bad, like depression wise, where I'll say, hey guys, like it's a bad day. I'm not going to be able to stream. Or if I'm super, super tired from school and mom duties and stuff like that, I'll announce that I'm not going to stream. But there has been times where I'm feeling down, but I need comfort. I need to be able to talk to someone. So
Mm-hmm.
I let them know. There's been about like 2 streams where I've cried in the beginning of the stream just to vent and let everything out. And then I feel so much better afterwards. And then I continue the stream happy as ever. And then it ends up being one of the best streams that I ever had.
Well, that's good.
But I let people know That's why I'm very big on asking how people's days were.
Mm-hmm.
They'll ask how mine is. I'll be honest with them, like, man, today was kind of crappy. It had a lot of schoolwork, had a lot of trouble at home. Potty training was just so bad today, or something like that.
Right.
But I try to be as honest, and I always try to give my 110% best. But when I'm having bad days like that, where I do end up choosing to stream, it's mainly because I need someone to talk to. Because in my busy schedule, I hardly have friends like that.
Mm-hmm.
I also moved away from home, so all of my friends are back home where I used to live. And out here, I never go out. I never have time to go out and meet people face to face. So
Right.
having friends that from streaming, and friends that I've met online before over the years, they definitely help me a lot get through everything. Even though I physically can't see them, and they can't physically be there for me.
Right.
They help me more, and I'm more connected to people that I've never actually met in real life than I've ever been with people that are in my actual day to day life. Just so weird and crazy to me how that
That's
works.
yeah. It definitely is. Like I joke around on stream sometimes saying that I don't have any friends, but there's some truth to that. Like in real life, that I can physically see, I don't really have anybody that I go and hang out with.
Same.
But online, yeah, I mean, I got everybody in my Discord who they actually are concerned how my day is and stuff like that, and how my family's doing. Just last year, or I said last year, 2018, I was going through a tough time because my dog, she needed surgery, or she was gonna die,
Hmm.
and I didn't have the money to be able to do that, and everybody on my live stream got together and started donating so I could take my dog in for the emergency surgery.
Hmm.
And they paid for, I think, like the amount of the surgery was about 1,500, and the amount of donations I received was like $900 out of it, and I was able to afford taking her into the surgery, and they saved her life. So like I will
Mm.
always be
Oh,
grateful to all of them for doing stuff like that. And yeah, I consider them my friends. I again, I joke around when I say I don't have friends, but that's live stream, like, or live, like when I go out of my house, I don't got anybody to interact with over, outside. But here,
yeah,
just like you said, it's a weird thing. You feel connected to people that you never met. Like you just see their
yeah,
names. Yeah.
yeah. I know, it's just so weird how it works. That's why some of my best friends are who I've met online. One of them actually just recently came to visit me here in Texas from Massachusetts
Oh wow.
after being friends with him for 5 years. And now we're trying to like slowly meet everyone else in our friend group that we've
Mm-hmm.
met online. And it's nice because even though it feels like I'm alone and I don't have friends in my actual life, I know I'm not alone. I can just hop onto Discord or get on live stream and just
Yeah.
talk with my friends, and I won't feel alone anymore.
So you're in Texas. You're in I have two friends that I've met because of live streaming and stuff like that. I have two friends that are over
Hmm.
there that they're also content creators. Uh, you mentioned that you moved away from home. What's your home state?
Still in Texas, but
Okay,
close. It's a border city, so
gotcha.
right next to Mexico. So I used to live out there. It's big now, but it has a very small town feel where everyone
Hmm.
knows everyone, but also everyone knows your business.
Oh yeah.
So moving away was definitely something that was a blessing in disguise. Even though I miss it, I miss like the family orientedness of it.
Hmm.
And of course I miss like friends out there and stuff like that. But this where I live now, it's very different. And I think moving out here really gave me that push because again, it was just not everyone where I used to live, but it was kind of toxic in a way where
Right.
people didn't really like to see you succeed because they weren't succeeding themselves. And I just had to push away from that. And then again, whatever you were doing, someone else knew about it, and then 100 other people would know about it. And so
Right.
moving was definitely also a blessing in disguise because it gave me motivation to do things that I didn't think
Mm-hmm.
that I could ever do because other people would always tell me like, "Oh, you can't be a content creator. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, it's not going to get anywhere." And moving out here, it's especially again since I don't really have much friends out here to
Right.
I'm very glad that I did move because I wouldn't have been doing this if I hadn't.
Yeah, and I feel like from my experiences that people who say that you can't do content creation or live streaming and stuff like that, most of the time they don't understand it. They don't understand it themselves. Um, like my parents, they know that I do all of this stuff, and at first they had no idea what it was. They didn't get it. And then once I explained to them that that I actually make money from playing video games, you know, on a regular basis, that growing up they're like, oh, playing all those video games, you'll never amount to anything or do
So,
anything with that. And I'm like, well, see, all those video games paid off. Now, I get I get sponsorships. I get video games sent to me for review before the games come out. I'm now gonna be interviewing voice actors, which is a lot of fun. I'm super excited. I get to do stuff like this with other content creators, and it's fantastic. I got to take my family on a road trip this past summer because of all of this, and I would not have been able to do that before. So, yeah, my family, not, when I say my family, I'm talking about like my parents, because my wife
mhm.
understands it, but my parents, they finally understand what it is that I'm doing, what I've been building for, and it like you said, it's a very it's sometimes you have to do things in order for other things to happen. Like yourself, you had to move away for, and then now you can do something like this. It's a wonderful experience, and it sounds like you enjoy it as well.
Yes. Round of applause to you though for all of your success and stuff. So
And
that's so exciting.
and I mean, round of applause to you as well. I mean, I see the people interacting. You have constant viewership, and it for a small streamer. How many followers do you have?
I just hit 500. I think I'm at like 507.
Okay, for somebody who has 507 followers on Twitch, which by the way, Twitch is not really the best platform for discovery.
Hmm.
It's very different from like a platform for, like YouTube, for example.
Hmm.
Because YouTube, somebody types in like whatever they're looking for, and then boom, it pops up as a video or a live stream or whatever. Twitch,
Hmm.
it's not the same. Twitch, you gotta be looking for a specific game type of deal. So it's a little bit harder to discover people. But for somebody who has 500 followers, you constantly have a viewership of 20, 30 people on your live streams. And that is
Hmm.
fantastic. Those numbers are incredible for somebody who has 500 followers. And so never shortchange yourself,
No,
because
yeah.
I like you can have thousands and thousands of subs or followers. I'm sorry, I say subs to YouTube. Followers
Yeah.
on Twitch, and then you go live and you have maybe 10 people watching. So congrats to you for being able to keep the numbers up like that. It's a very positive thing, and you should be very proud of that.
Oh man, thank you. It's something that I always try to work on. I always try to make a good first impression. Every person that comes in, I try to make them feel welcomed and part of the conversation.
Right.
Because I wanna build a community that isn't always just there for the game that I'm playing, but more so there for me and everyone else, and more specifically that like the relations that they'll get out of it, the
Right.
friendships that they get out of it. That's the community that I'm trying to build because games come and go, popularity,
Mm-hmm. And
and so
that's
I
a
try to build it off of that.
that is a very good goal to strive for. Very good. Because again, like you said, you want people to come in for you to hang out with you, not for a specific game.
Mhm.
That's a very, very good goal to strive for. So before we end this, I want to ask you really quick. So now that you finished the Dark Souls games, and you said that
Yes.
you're not sure what to play, are there any games that are coming out soon that you're really looking forward to?
I believe so. I think there's one, and I think it's called Elden Ring.
Okay.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, yeah.
Very along the same lines. doesn't come out for I think till not till the end of this year or next year.
Hmm.
So we still have a long way to go, but that is one that I definitely want to play because, of course, that's another thing that people are super excited about,
Right.
especially in the Dark Souls community. Everyone's super excited about it and wants to make sure that I play it. So I feel so sad going away from Dark Souls and stuff like that because I really enjoyed it and I'm so sad that it's over. I really wish it wasn't over, but I can't wait till that comes out so I can get back into it because I'm gonna miss it so much.
What about games like Final Fantasy VII, um, Resident Evil 3 that's coming out? Because we mentioned that
Oh, of
you're a Resident
course.
Evil
Yes,
fan.
Resident Evil for sure. That was Resident Evil when the last remake came out. I tried to actually make a YouTube video about it, but of
Hmm.
course my laptop just couldn't handle that for whatever reason.
Right.
So it was super difficult. I also didn't have like a face cam and stuff when I tried to record it, and
Hmm.
then it just all got corrupted and it was just awful. So I'm really looking forward to be able to actually live stream it this time because
Well, good.
Resident Evil is uh, by far like my second favorite series.
Hmm.
Kingdom Hearts being my first, and Resident Evil being my second, because I grew up around it. So
Did you play Kingdom Hearts 3?
I have, yes.
Did you did you play the, what was it, RE Mind, the DLC?
I have not. I had to wait on it because by the time that came out, I was already doing the Soul series, and I didn't want to
Ah,
just like
gotcha.
stop. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm
maybe you
very
can
excited
pick that
to
up
play
now
it.
that you're done.
I know that's why I've either that or probably some people want me to do challenge runs and past games that I've played, like Bloodborne or Sekiro. So
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll definitely see. I don't know.
I mean, me
I never.
personally, I'd go back to games a lot when I should be uh, going to another game like that I haven't played yet.
Mhm.
So yeah, I get that. I mean, you look at your past games, you're like, oh boy, I had fun playing those games, but I kind of want to play something different.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of torn. I'm like, I really like this game and I miss it, but I, want to play things that I haven't played before. So
Well,
we'll see.
yeah. Well, where can people find you? Go plug
You can
yourself.
find me on twitch.tv/SimpleRaRa. I'm on Twitter as SimpleRaRa as well. Instagram _SimpleRaRa is pretty much all the same thing. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, 10 o'clock, between 10 and 10:30 Central Time. So
Mm-hmm. All
you
right.
guys can find me over there.
And
But thank you so much.
all those links
Yes.
will be in the description. And I appreciate you being here. It really means a lot that you took time out of your busy schedule to be able to do this.
No, yeah, thank you so much for inviting me on here. I was
No
so
problem.
nervous for the past week over it.
Why?
But I don't know, I've never done something like this before, so
It's no need to be nervous. It's just, two people talking. That's all.
no, yeah, definitely. But thank you so very much for inviting me.
No problem at all. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate it as well. All links will be down in the description. Go check her out. Very fun live streamer. So, bye for now, guys.